On January 11, 2026, as celebrities flocked to the Beverly Hilton for the 83rd Golden Globes, many of them paused to mingle with rap icon and the voice coach Snoop Dogg, who was interviewing Access Hollywood on the red carpet. However, many viewers thought something was wrong with the Jonas Brothers star when Snoop interviewed Nick Jonas, a former coach and current mentor, and his wife, actress Priyanka Chopra Jonas. Snoop asked the beautiful couple whether it was their first time attending the Golden Globes, and Priyanka was obviously excited to talk to him. "Oh no, this is our second time as a couple, and I think I've been 3 or 4 times, Nick retorted icily. "Every night is enjoyable." As Priyanka swooned over the knowledge that Snoop was aware of her next film, The Bluff, Nick grinned momentarily. However, he frequently wiped his brow with a white handkerchief, and many admirers commented on social media that he appeared unenthusiastic about being there. "Slick, where have you been, Nick?" At one point, Snoop questioned, and Nick replied, "Busy. The brothers and I recently wrapped up a 76-show tour across Canada and the United States." When Snoop made the joke, "Not 6 to 7, with a small laugh, Jonas shook his head and went on, "No, not 6 to 7. Additionally, I have a new solo titled Sunday Best that will be out in a few weeks. So, when are you going to call me back in the studio?" Snoop asked, bending down. "Come on now," and Nick said, "Whenever you want," with a lack of enthusiasm. The gift bags that Snoop gave the newlyweds didn't seem to impress Jonas either. Nick, however, did chuckle at Snoop's ecstatic response after Priyanka informed the rapper that their daughter adores his children's program, Doggyland. Fans were unanimous on social media that Jonas, who served as a mentor for Reba McEntire's team on The Voice in the fall of 2025, while Snoop was also a cast member, was strange. Jonas' brother, who is often energetic and exuberant, didn't radiate the same warmth and enthusiasm that his fans are accustomed to. One commenter on a YouTube video of the exchange said, "Nick, you good? Perhaps he's sick because he doesn't seem to want to be there, lol." Another individual made a similar comment on Instagram. "Nick, you good bro?" Another remark that queried, "Why does Nick seem so uncomfortable talking to Snoop?" received over 3,000 likes. Given that Jonas has been candid about living with type 1 diabetes for the past 20 years, several fans worried that he might be experiencing a diabetic episode. Others speculated that Jonas might be experiencing sensory overload or an anxiety attack. Nick posted a video of himself and Priyanka parading around while suited up for the Golden Globes earlier in the evening, giving the impression that he had a lot more fun at home before the awards presentation. While getting dressed, he uploaded a video in which he discussed his Berluti tux and placed on his fossil watch. The pair was spotted at Netflix's Golden Globe after party at Spago after the awards event, and the Jumanji actor was a little more lively in other interviews conducted on the red carpet and elsewhere. The whole point of award season is to feel perfect. The carpets are red, the lights are brilliant, and every smile is intended to convey joy, enthusiasm, and self-assurance. However, occasionally, a moment that seems real, almost too real, emerges amid the glitz and staged appeal. During a brief Golden Globes encounter between Nick Jonas and Snoop Dogg, fans observed an unexpected change in attitude, leaving them thinking about Nick himself rather than prizes or clothes. On paper, it was a brief, informal, and innocuous moment. But in a matter of hours, it emerged as one of the most talked about videos of the evening. Not due to controversy but rather to worry. A celebration-oriented evening traditionally, the Golden Globe Awards have been a more laid-back award ceremony. Unlike previous events, it combines comedy and status, promotes more relaxed interviews, and lets celebrities express their personalities in less staged ways. The Globes are unique because of that environment, which also contributed to the significance of this particular event. When Nick Jonas and his wife, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, arrived, they looked like the polished power couple that fans have grown to love. Priyanka exuded confidence and interacted with journalists with ease, while Nick stood behind her in a fitted outfit that shouted classic Hollywood. Everything looked perfectly normal from the outside. However, everything changed when Snoop Dogg interrupted for a playful conversation. The conversation that raised concern. It is well known that Snoop Dogg exudes charisma with ease. He usually makes any space feel more relaxed, whether he's hosting, doing interviews, or just cracking jokes. His tone was lighthearted when he met Nick and Priyanka, which is precisely what fans anticipate from a Globe's red carpet event. Priyanka laughed and interacted with ease in a warm response, but Nick appeared to be quiet. Fans noticed that he didn't lean in, riff off the jokes, or exhibit the exuberant energy that people associate with him, even though he smiled, nodded, and talked briefly. There was no drama. It wasn't awkward in the conventional sense. However, something didn't feel right. Viewers caught up on the minor clues very immediately in a culture that has been taught to interpret body language and micro-expressions. Here's a condensed answer. There was a wiped brow. He looked away from the talk for a moment. The social media world suddenly took notice. Is Nick okay? Is the reaction on social media? Clips of the conversation circulated on several platforms in a matter of minutes. Comment sections full of sincere concern rather than derision. Nick appears overburdened. I hope he's okay, he seems anxious. Does anyone else sense a problem? It was a powerful tone. Fans were checking in, not the internet sharpening its blades. Awards events, particularly after lengthy tours, press cycles, and constant appearances, can be draining, according to many. Others noted that Nick has consistently stated that he is human, not superhuman. The most noticeable thing was how protective supporters were. Many people feel as though they have grown up with Nick Jonas because he has been in the spotlight since he was a little child. It hits differently when someone you've watched for almost 20 years becomes uneasy, even for a short time. The significance of continuous visibility. It's helpful to think about the pressure Nick Jonas is under in order to comprehend why this moment struck a chord. He is no longer only a singer. As a performer, actor, coach, producer, husband, and father, he must be physically and emotionally present in each of these responsibilities. Nick has spent the majority of his early years under observation, in contrast to artists that come to prominence later in life. Every change, from teen idol to well-respected adult artist, has taken place in public. There isn't much space to vanish, recenter, or just have a restful night without raising any questions. That pressure is increased by award shows. You're supposed to be on at all times, mirroring the energy of each interviewer you encounter, answering questions quickly, and smiling for the cameras. It is possible to see something more profound in even a tranquil time. Therefore, fans did not perceive rudeness or disinterest when Nick seemed less animated than normal. They noticed wariness, vulnerability, perhaps even nervousness. A difference in energy, the difference between Nick and Snoop Dogg, contributed to the exchange's striking visibility. Nick's more guarded posture created a visual imbalance, whereas Snoop's easygoing, playful manner filled the room. It was embarrassing, but in a human way rather than a hostile one. Similar to two individuals that encounter at radically different emotional speeds. Some observers compared the scene to witnessing an introvert navigating an extrovert's world while surrounded by cameras and bright lights. Others perceived it as someone enduring fatigue because professionalism requires it. In any case, it didn't feel phony. And that genuineness is precisely what kept it going. Supporters unite in empathy in today's frequently harsh online atmosphere. The tsunami of goodwill that ensued was remarkable. Nick's supporters stood up for him when someone attempted to misrepresent the event. Others related their own experiences of burnout, anxiousness, or feeling overpowered in public. Celebrity rumors gave way to a more important topic of discussion: the price of continuous excellence. People remarked on Nick's prior candor regarding emotional honesty, self-reflection, and mental wellness, because of the trust that has been established with fans as a result of this transparency. Many have chosen empathy over judgment. The predominant question shifted from "what's wrong with him?" to "how can we support him?" The greater good. Humanity above news. These kinds of moments highlight a significant aspect of contemporary fandom. Today's audiences want real individuals, not just polished stars. They want to understand that being vulnerable is a common experience rather than a weakness. On that red carpet, Nick Jonas did not do anything improper. He didn't lose his temper, make a mistake, or stir up trouble. To be honest, he just existed at a moment that didn't call for performance. Ironically, the moment was stronger because of that honesty than any prepared joke or catchy soundbite. A quietly supportive marriage fans also took note of Priyanka's presence. Throughout the conversation, she maintained her composure, self-assurance, and tactful encouragement. They were merely two people negotiating a high-pressure situation together. There was no apparent tension or discomfort between them. That silent unity spoke louder than words for many viewers. It served as a reminder to admirers that, despite the weight of the limelight, Nick is not alone. Why people will remember this moment typically: the Golden Globes are known for their fashion statements, snubs, and victories. However, one of the most talked about events this year has nothing to do with prizes. It had to do with empathy. A quick conversation served as a reminder to the audience that superstars are not exempt from fatigue, anxiety, or emotional strain. It demonstrated how fast fans may become supporters when they perceive genuineness. It also brought attention to something uncommon: a group pause in which people just hoped someone was alright rather than criticizing them. Proceeding nothing was wrong in a dramatic sense, and perhaps nothing was, according to Nick Jonas. It might have been a long day. It might have been sensory overload. Perhaps it was just a calm atmosphere. However, the response revealed something significant. Fans are more concerned about his welfare than his performance. Moments like these are important in a field that frequently demands perfection. They serve as a reminder that behind every well-tailored suit and polished grin, there is a human being trying their hardest, sometimes silently, sometimes brilliantly, and sometimes while carrying more than we can ever see.